So I thought I'd take the opportunity at the top of the show to answer some frequently asked questions I get a lot from people who, just want to start a conversation with me, want to get to know me a little bit. Yeah, it's nice to get to know me because, there are people who don't even know my name is Rob. They just assume my name's Richard. But, I let that go a long time ago because a lot of people assume I'm a Richard. But yeah, people will ask me all the time, "Hey Rob, do you watch anime at all? Rob, do you play video games? Hey, you look Spanish. Do you speak Spanish?" And normally with those questions, I can give the same answer, and that's a no. I just look like I do. Well, on that note, let's get the show started. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Rob Rodriguez. Now, I'm not sure if everybody's been following what's been going on, but there's a writer's strike right now, and it's been going on for a week. As you may know, late night talk shows are shut down. Your favorite scripted TV shows have ceased production. Drew Barrymore canceled her hosting gig. Yeah, her advertised hosting gig for the MTV TV and Movie Awards. I was looking forward to that. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I could watch Never Been Kissed any other time, And Jay Leno brought donuts. True story. Now, as I said before, I hope the studios and the writers, the Writers Guild of America and all the other writing teams find a compromise so this can end soon, Because maybe if we think about it, an alpaca for The Office might not be a reasonable ask. I mean, it's cool and nobody else has that, but come on, guys. But yeah, if this continues, your favorite shows and movies will see the effects, in quality and delays. I mean, we'll have to turn to reality TV again, just like we did in 2007. I don't think we're prepared to deal with a winter season of Big Brother again, Did I mention Jay Leno brought donuts? Why is that my favorite part of this whole thing? Okay, excuse the fact that I may pull out rotating opening lines from a hat here, but we all go about our day. See, that's one of them we use a lot. I mean, whether we're at work or at school or just living our best life for 24 hours, there's always something that's worth talking about, like a part of our day that just sticks out over other parts of the day. I mean, some stuff is worth remembering. Other times it's like, you remember that? I barely remember what I had for breakfast today, man. My memory is terrible. Is that natural, or do you do something that causes that? But, none of my business. But yeah, once you clock out, the bell dismisses you, or if you weren't doing work or school and you just go inside for the night. Can I make these any more confusing the way these are set up? Okay, let's do this. Okay, so after a long day, you're finally home. You close the door behind you, and then hey honey, how was your day? You will not believe the day that I had. Customers were just coming up to me, like asking for things that were literally right behind them. I injured my finger just moving packs of water off of a pallet, and a truck almost hit me while I was crossing the street, but other than that, today was just peachy. My mother is coming over this weekend. Oh. If you need me, I'll be watching Vin Diesel movies upstairs. I mean, you never know the kind of day someone is having. I mean, most interactions with strangers, it usually entails accidentally bumping into them as you're walking past. 9 times out of 10, when you're like, whoops, I'm sorry, they'll say, oh, you're fine. But occasionally, you accidentally bump into somebody, and they just give you the dirtiest look. And then walk away. It's like, I said I was sorry, and now, I work in customer service. Now, I've also learned to read the room. After an exchange like that, you do not want to tell that person, have a nice day. It's just not the time or place for that. I mean, you don't know what this person's going through today. Like, they could have flushed their goldfish or lost an AirPod in the toilet while flushing their goldfish. You never know. I started coming across clips from the show House MD, and the best way to describe it to anybody who hasn't heard of the show is it's about a doctor who diagnoses patients by berating them, and he walks with a cane. Yeah, can't forget that part. Now just think about his day for a second. Like, yeah, occasionally we get the more serious case with the patients, but you see some serious hypochondriacs sometime on the show. And it's like, you see Dr. House like this. So you crushed your foot because a fish tank fell on top of it. Of course, this didn't actually happen on the show. I'm just making stuff up for plot, but you moved the fish tank, or tried to, because you thought it looked better on the other side of the room. Yeah, how did you know? What are you, stupid? Okay, yeah, well, I ran out of material, so why don't we play a clip, by the way, it's completely on topic, and it totally just fits what this topic was about.
Coming to bed, honey?
Yes, dear.
We can always rely on SpongeBob. Well, we have a lot of show to fill, so that being said, I'm gonna need a minute. Alright, singer-songwriter appreciation continues. My guest this week comes from the greater Seattle area. She's been heavily involved in the music scene since a young age as a drummer and vocalist. Let's check out some of her work.
The air is threatening violence. We look straight and pretend the radio's broken again.
talented, a rock star, not to mention educated from the Berklee College of Music. This is my interview with the mind behind Prismia, Anna Mariko Seymour. So your artist name is Prismia, and when you go by two names, it's very interesting because it's like you're a superhero. You're Prismia at night, but Anna during the day. How did you come up with the name Prismia, and how is Prismia different than Anna?
The name itself kind of refers to prisms. And I just liked how prisms, they reflect light and different colors depending on what angle you're seeing them at, right? And I believe that as humans, we're kind of like prisms in a way, we're multifaceted with beautiful colors and lights that come through us, and we take what is given to us and we reflect it back on others and onto the world. I think there was like a lot there. So I thought that kind of would be fun. So that's where Prismia comes from. And it's just really nice to have like a separate name for, even though it's like kind of a solo project in a way where I write all the songs. I compose and produce the songs and everything. It's still nice to have that separation. Because it also wouldn't be true if it was just my name. It's not just like Anna Mariko Seymour. It's like I have talented and wonderful, kind friends who help me with live shows and recordings, and my team is awesome. And so, only putting my name, I don't know, it just wasn't gonna work for me, being like, oh, Anna, you're right. So now if I want to make this like at some point down the road a collaborative band, I can still keep the name, right? The name could be a collective, or Prismia kind of sounds like my name, Anna. And so it sounds kind of feminine, but it can also be, it can be used different ways. And I kind of like that about it.
So you're a drummer and a very talented one at that. So I think what people need to realize is with practice and motivation and effort, anybody could be good at doing anything. I mean, hypothetically speaking, if you had $1 for every time someone walked up to you and they were like, "Hey, you're a female drummer," would you be rich?
Sure, I'd be quite wealthy, yeah.
I mean, why do you think this bias exists?
I definitely have dealt with plenty of sexist comments and just like situations in my years of being a woman in music, and especially being, for most of it, a young girl in music. I think historically, there's been firm gender roles in instrument selection. So, like women do the softer sounding, smaller instruments, and men play big, aggressive instruments. And throughout time, there has been hobbies that are just generally considered masculine or feminine. And but there's been amazing women trailblazers through the years in music, like Sister Rosetta Tharpe and like Dolly Parton and Carole King, Karen Carpenter as a female drummer, Madonna, Missy Elliott. There's a whole bunch of different people. So many others have paved the path for women in different specific paths in the music industry. And to me, the more women are present and seen and are contributing to the music realm, the more it will just encourage women to be in music, right? When you see people that are like you doing something, you're like, wow, like, it makes you feel more confident in doing it yourself. And especially as like music producers, engineers, instrumentalists, and composers, there are more and more women starting to infiltrate all components of the music world. And I hope to be one of those women who come in and like kind of bust through the doors and take up the space at the table. They take up some space at the table. I stand on the shoulders of the women before me, right? And I hope to offer mine as well. So yeah.
As you mentioned, from a young age, you've been heavily involved in the music scene. Um, how did you get your start in the music industry, and you know, when was the moment that you realized this is what you were meant to do? This was your calling.
First off, I have like incredibly supportive parents, and first it was drums and drum lessons, and then my parents put me into this music for youth organization where I kind of honed in my skills and started performing and playing shows around like the age of 9, or no, around the age of 11. And then from there I just became more immersed in the wonderful Seattle music scene or Pacific Northwest music scene. And I don't really remember the exact moment, honestly. Over time, I feel like in my adolescence, it became clearer that this is my calling. Just the more and more I played music, and that was kind of the hobby I had. I did stuff in school, and I did well in school, and I did in high school, I was in theater, and there's other things I did for sure, but music was constant, and that was just kind of always my thing. And I literally couldn't imagine myself doing anything else, really. Um, I feel like I feel like the talents that God has given me, like they center around creating and performing and entertaining, and it would just be a waste to not use them and to not keep striving and pushing myself harder.
Yeah, you have an incredible resume. You graduated from the Berklee School of Music. You formed 2 bands and performed in 15 plus bands. I mean, this sounds like somebody who's never given up on their dream, and they keep going to this day. How does it feel to have the quote unquote eye of the tiger?
Um, well, I like the quote unquote eye of the tiger.
Thanks. I'm glad you liked it. Uh, it just fit. It was on topic.
I feel, I would say honestly, again, like really wouldn't be able to do it without the support I've been blessed with. It's easier to be tenacious and to like do all these things when you have people cheering you on, and you have like a great foundation, and like that's really matters, and that makes it a lot easier too. Um that's what I would say about that. It's like I have a lot of support, not just from my parents. I have a lot of friends, and I've had just, yeah, in general. It's kind of easy to push through something when you're confident that this is your calling, right? And I feel very confident about this is what I'm meant to do. And so if I'm going to do it, I have to do it, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now, you explored different styles of music as well. So, when writing a song, do you know right away of what style it's going to be in, whether it's going to be a ballad or rock or pop?
I feel like my songs usually end up being like a hodgepodge of different ideas I've had. Um, there's like a lyric idea here matched with a cool bass line I wrote or a drum groove. I just kind of throw it together, whatever sounds good and works out. Um, I never have like an idea in my mind genre wise. I let the lyrical content kind of tell me what it needs and where it needs to go, pretty much. I think using musical elements to help strengthen or like convey a message is really important. So I don't really have an idea like in my head if it's going to be like a specific way. It just kind of turns out how it turns out.
Okay, let's talk about nights like this. First off, visually stunning. It's a really cool song. I actually watched it in VR. I heavily recommend it. Its video's great. What's the story behind nights like this?
The song, you might not really realize it at first glance, I guess, or first listen. But it's kind of like your typical breakup song in a way, nothing super intricate. Um, or it's kind of like the aftermath of a breakup, especially when, you have conflicting feelings about it. I feel like a lot of people have been through like breakups, and then especially breakups that like, maybe it was like they didn't really want it to end, or there's a part of them that didn't want it to end, but then there's also a part of them that knows that it needed to end. So it just kind of talking about those feelings and the different stages kind of um the aftermath of a breakup, right? You feel like just like kind of shocked, and you feel like numb about it almost, like you do, and then but then you feel like angry, and you're upset, and you're really sad. And so there's just like a lot of different things going on, and I wanted to show that in this song, and that's why like there's a lot of it's kind of a funky song, and there's a lot of different, like there's a tempo change, there's different kind of vibes, um and it's supposed to kind of feel like, messy. It's that messy feeling that you get when, after a breakup, you're like, I kind of am sad, but then sometimes you're like, well, I didn't even need you anyway, but then you're like, no, please come back. So it's like going through those different feels, and that's why kind of the song does a lot of different things.
Well, Anna, the stage is yours. Where can everybody find you and what do you have coming up?
Yeah, my project is Prismia, and if you're interested in kind of some different genre bending rock music, then it can be for you. So you can check out my Instagram, Prismia Music. I have Twitter and TikTok as well, same handle, Prismia Music. And I have this new song, Nights Like This, out with a music video. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. And I have a lot of fun things coming up. I'm writing an EP to go along, and I'll have a couple singles coming out in the summer.
All right, Anna, thank you so much. She is Prismia, and please check her out and show her some love. Anna, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me. This has been really nice. Thank you.
I can't picture my life without you, like a broken record, everlasting ember. I now surrender, 'cause I can't bear life like this. I wanna run away, I wanna hide.
It's time for that weekly list known as the possibility list. It's kind of like when a grasshopper walks into the bar and the bartender says, "You know what? We have a drink named after you." And the grasshopper says, "You have a drink named Walter?" Alright, this week's list is titled 4 Reasons Why Vine Should Make a Comeback. Yep. Remember 2013? No hesitating with this list whatsoever. And number 4. Everybody has 6 seconds of their time to look at one. It's true. Number 3. TikTok is hanging by a thread right now. Number 2. Less planning for content creators. And number 1. 4 reasons why Vine should make a comeback. Hearing that one person say, "Man, back in my day, Vine was everything," and complain that the new version is not the same. You know that's going to happen. And that's the possibility list for you this week. Well, I got a bit of an announcement. So, about 7 years ago, I bought the domain rodriguezreplay.com. It was heavily promoted for a while on the show. And, after a year, I just no longer own the domain rodriguezreplay.com. Yeah, it also had a website, which was basically just a blog, and whatever ambition that an aspiring 19-year-old comedian could come up with. Sometimes I wish it was still there. I mean, but by your late 20s, you just become a little more realistic with stuff. It's weird. Long story short, we recently bought the domain back, rodriguezreplay.com, and we do have a website that we're working on. But here's where we're at with that. As you can see, it's just a basic GoDaddy website. A lot of placeholder. And just take a look at this very ambitious archive page. Yeah, you got all those buttons. Oh, maybe your curiosity would perhaps click on one of those buttons, but you click on it and you're brought to a coming soon page. Yep, this will be the Epcot of websites because I'll never be finished with it. So far, all you can do is, watch the latest episode, send me a message, and subscribe to early access of episodes and other content before they're actually released to the public. And, the website will be available soon, but if you want to check on the progress, please visit robrodriguez.godaddysites.com. Yeah, it's so early in the stages of development that we didn't even connect the domain name yet. Well, that is the show for you this week. You know to follow me on social media. Until next time, I don't know anybody whose preferred bottled water is Dasani. I mean, have you even ever seen a commercial for Dasani water? What would it even be like? Dasani. It has a kick to it. How else would you promote the world's hardest water? Well, anyway, that is my time. Thank you so much.